Now, Wave News at 11.
Sovereignty has taken the lead. Journalism is second toward the inside. Baeza is third, but it will be Sovereignty to rule the Kentucky Derby.
A rainy day and a muddy track had a lot of odds shifting around ahead of the 151st Kentucky Derby, but the rain held off for the race itself, and Sovereignty ended up coming out on top to win the Garland of Roses. You're watching Wave News at 11. I'm Noelle Friel. Coming in second place was the favorite going into today, Journalism, followed with Baeza coming in third after replacing the Baffert-trained Rodriguez. Here's a look back at the most exciting 2 minutes in sports.
We're ready for the start. They're off in the Kentucky Derby. Journalism is in a little bit of traffic early on here, but he came out of the gate okay. Citizen Bull and Neo Equos, as expected, to the front, but they've come well off the rail. And these two are setting the pace with Owen Almighty to the outside. East Avenue is away running in fourth. American Promise is fifth and down on the inside, then Admire Daytona. Burnham Square is closer today. He's down on the rail, only about 5 lengths off the lead. Then Chunk of Gold. Journalism is saving ground into that turn. He's in the middle of the pack as Cold Battle goes up on the far outside with Render Judgment and Flying Mohawk. Then comes Publisher, Baeza to the outside. Down toward the rail, Japan's Luxor Cafe leads Sovereignty. Tistastic and Sandman are next. And Final Gambit is the trailer as they race past this half mile in 46.23 seconds. So the pace is honest enough, set by the Baffert runners, Citizen Bull, and Neo Equos is pressing it on the outside. American Promise together with Owen Almighty, third and fourth. Break of another 2.5 to East Avenue in fifth. Burnham Square is sixth on the inside. Brian Hernandez has him down on the rail like he did with Mystic Dan last year. They're about 6 lengths off the lead as they race for the far turn. Citizen Bull on the inside. Neo Equos on the outside. These two right together on the lead. American Promise comes under pressure. Owen Almighty is fourth by 2.5. Chunk of Gold is fifth, trying to get involved now with 5 lengths to make up. And meanwhile, we look back for Journalism. He's been swung to the outside by Umberto Rispoli, and he's picking off horses one by one on the far outside. Neo Equos is the leader at the top of the stretch. Journalism is on the move as they turn for home, and Sovereignty is coming with him on the outside. The two of them go right by with a furlong to run. Journalism and Sovereignty, nose to nose, down to the last 16th of a mile. Sovereignty has taken the lead. Journalism is second toward the inside. Baeza is third, but it will be Sovereignty to rule the Kentucky Derby. Journalism and Baeza were next. Final Gambit was fourth. The final time was 2:02.31 seconds.
Well, this is not just a significant win for Sovereignty and jockey Junior Alvarado. It's trainer Bill Mott's first Derby win in which his horse actually crossed the finish line first. His thoroughbred Country House was declared the winner of the 2019 race after Maximum Security was disqualified. This is also the first horse bred by Godolphin to win the Derby. Well, with all the chaos that went into that race, sports anchor Dusty Baker was there to witness the finish down the stretch. Dusty, what are your initial thoughts on what took place today?
First of all, it was spelled right in front of us. Sovereignty in the rain. How did we not see this coming, right?
Honestly, it was all in the name.
It was literally right there in front of us the whole time. Now, of course, a lot of people had their eyes on Journalism. What a moment, though, it was for Bill Mott, for jockey Junior Alvarado, and for everyone that saw what many of us did see in Sovereignty. And, of course, it's a horse that had the resume heading into the Derby with 2 victories in the Street Sense and Fountain of Youth Stakes, also a second-place finish in the Florida Derby. So what was it about Sovereignty that ultimately led to him securing the run for the Roses? Taking a look back at it, out of gate 18, Sovereignty fell back early on, no problem though. Known for being a closer around the first turn, he was way in the back. Once again, no surprise, Citizen Bull wearing himself down early on. At the 3/4 mark and down the stretch, he starts tailing Journalism. Journalism out in front. Watch these two then picking up speed, and finally breaking loose past Journalism is Sovereignty. Sovereignty able to outrun Journalism in that final furlong, gets that final gear, pushes forward, and wins the Kentucky Derby. Here's what his trainer and jockey had to say about the winning trip in the Derby.
It's, an unbelievable feeling, and I'm sure that you know, those feelings are going to last a while, and I'm sure they're going to probably hit me a little stronger later on.
What did you think about the ride down the stretch?
It was a perfect ride. I mean, you know, 18 hole, he got over to on the first turn, he got to the rail, he tipped out, you know, he stayed tucked in, you know, behind Journalism around the turn and then tipped out and outrun him down the lane.
Well, the ride was pretty good. You know, he took me all around there. You know, he did everything I asked for him. And, you know, when I turned from home, I asked him for a little extra and he was there for me.
So Sovereignty is your winner. So let's take a look at the results, though, across the board as a whole. And, of course, here we go. First of all, Sovereignty finishes in first in the money. Journalism finishes second. Baeza third. So there's your money. Final Gambit fourth. Owen Almighty fifth. Burnham Square sixth. Followed by Sandman. Then East Avenue. Chunk of Gold. Followed by Tiztastic. Cole Battle. That was a horse that I was high on. Cole Battle follows in the middle of the pack. Then Luxor Cafe. Neo Equos had a chance there down the stretch, was out in front in that final stretch, but did not finish out, obviously, in the money. Followed by Publisher, then Citizen Bull, who had that huge jump early on, then American Promise, Render Judgment, and then Flying Mohawk, followed by Admire Daytona, rounds out your field. There you have it. The 151st edition of the Kentucky Derby crowns its new king. It had it in its name, Noel, Sovereignty. It means having supreme power and authority. Needless to say, that horse out of the 18 slot showed his power, and he showed he was the most powerful horse this evening. We'll have more coming up in sports on Sovereignty's huge victory.
Yeah, absolutely. A fantastic race to watch all the way around. Well, it was a wet Kentucky Derby with rain falling consistently throughout the day, but as Wave News reporter Fernando Garcia Francischini reports, the weather wasn't going to keep people away from the Run for the Roses.
So when you think about the Kentucky Derby, you think about two things: horses and fashion. Whether it's the fascinators, the hats, the bow ties, the suit jackets, there's a little bit of everything. But for the 151st Kentucky Derby, there was one fashion item you could not miss: the poncho. As the rain kept falling Saturday afternoon for the Kentucky Derby, people did their very best to find cover and stay dry.
It's rainy, so that's a little bummer, but it's still like everything. I'm enjoying myself. I love it.
This group actually met at Churchill Downs, and they were all there celebrating birthdays.
My wife bought me a package, surprise birthday party, paid for everything.
Birthday packages worth hundreds of dollars, and the rain was not gonna keep them away.
The rain was not gonna stop us. We even put on our tennis shoes.
Cheers, girls.
So cheers, cheers.
It's a feeling echoed by many at Churchill for Derby Day, who were not gonna let Mother Nature keep them from seeing the Run for the Roses in person.
We've actually had the opportunity to bring friends and family. This year we kind of made it a family trip. We've had college friends and kind of mix it up year to year to year and kind of have it on our calendars first weekend in May every year. So.
Yeah, we love sharing that with everybody else.
Mindy and Kyle Bauer have come to Louisville for 4 Kentucky Derbies, and while they say the weather was a doozy this year, they at least got to make some money betting on the winning horse, since Kyle felt confident Sovereignty had it in the bag.
I think he's in the 18 spot. I just like the way he's prepped the last few races, and I think he's going to be up there at the top when he gets down the stretch.
People say they expect to come to many more Kentucky Derbies, and they just hope they have a little bit better luck with weather next time. Reporting in at Churchill Downs, Fernando Garcia Francischini, Wave News.
We have, of course, been covering the Derby nonstop this week, from the event itself to the history, the unsung heroes of the track, and pretty much everything else you can think of. You can find all of that on wave3.com or on the Wave News app. Coming up on Wave News at 11, dozens of cars from a former Southern Indiana sheriff serving time for his crimes brought in around $1 million. We'll have where that money is going.
And of course, it was a sloppy track for Derby 151 this year, and radar still looking a little sloppy tonight. That trend is going to continue not only tomorrow, but maybe Monday as well. We'll have an update on just how long these showers are going to stick around in your 10-day earliest alert when we come back. First, we'll check tonight's Kentucky Lottery jackpot numbers. $44 million for the Powerball jackpot tonight, $90 million for the Mega Millions.
The Kentucky Lottery, over $5 billion in grants and scholarships.
Hi, Tim Jones back. The most exciting time of the year here in Kentuckiana, Derby time. And you know, it's always a great time to buy a car or trade. Your trade-in never worth more. We've got a great selection, new vehicles arriving daily. And if we don't have the Toyota you're looking for, we can find it for you. And special programs for college graduates and military. Pick up the phone, give us a call, or come down Dixie Highway 7 days a week. ToyotaofLouisville.com, a Swope dealership where nobody walks away. Hi, I'm Tim Jones back for Toyota of Louisville. You know, this is the most exciting time of the year, Derby season. We've got a great selection of vehicles. It's time to trade, and we can save you money. Dixie Highway or ToyotaofLouisville.com, a Swope dealership where nobody walks away.
Let's go places. This newscast is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Now, Wave News.
43 of Jamie Knowles' seized cars brought in more than $1 million during an auction this weekend. Special Judge Larry Medlock dropped the gavel to close the sale on the 1970 Plymouth Superbird, selling for $175,000. The judge famously slammed his gavel hard enough to break a piece of wood when he found Knoll in contempt of court a year ago. The proceeds from the auction will be used to pay down Knoll's $3 million restitution bill. The court won't get all $1 million from this weekend's auction, though. The auction company and others involved in the sale will need to take out their contracted fees first. All right, let's go ahead and get a look at our forecast now. And Carson, by no means was it ideal weather for Derby Day. It was definitely raining consistently, pretty cold and pretty windy, which is never a great combo.
Never.
But I will say everyone that we talked to had such a great attitude about it. Everybody broke out the ponchos and everybody just kind of accepted that it's all part of the experience.
That's all you can do, Noelle. It truly is a 50-50 shot through all the 151 years of the Kentucky Derby as to whether or not it's going to be dry or wet. This, by the way, is the 4th year in a row we've had at least some kind of rain on Derby Day. Let's snap that streak next year. Unfortunately, the rain's not going anywhere tonight as this cut-off low pressure is just literally spinning right on top of wave country, and that will be the case for the next couple of days, unfortunately. You'll notice on the Wave Weather app overnight tonight, we're going to keep that 60% chance for these on-again, off-again showers. We'll keep that 60% chance in play through the first half of the day on Sunday. And for the most part, we're talking about lighter rain, but there's a very small chance for some thunder in our far southeastern counties Sunday afternoon. No severe weather expected. Always a good idea to have the Wave Weather app. We have sent all kinds of push alerts on the Wave Weather app throughout this week. We sent out several alerts today here in Louisville and at Churchill Downs as well. If you want to get on some of those push alerts sent right to your phone, scan that QR code. The Wave Weather app, totally free on all those Apple and Android devices. Let's walk you through Futurecast. We go through overnight tonight and throughout the day on Sunday. You notice there's going to be some breaks in the steadier showers. If you're not seeing showers, though, because this low is just spinning in place and the clouds aren't going anywhere, you'll just see mist and drizzle instead. It's a really good day tomorrow to just lay low stay inside and recover from Oaks and Derby. Nonetheless, you notice those scattered showers are with us, especially through the first half of the day tomorrow. Then that coverage slowly breaks up a little bit tomorrow afternoon. Maybe some thunder down near Columbia and Campbellsville early afternoon. Nothing severe expected. And we continue to keep those showers in the forecast tomorrow night into the day on Monday. It may not be until Monday night before we finally dry things out completely. Let me get you to radar one more time tonight. You notice it's just very light shower activity kind of dotting the map. Some of those showers have just redeveloped here in the last 15 or 30 minutes on the eastern parts of Jefferson County. More widespread rain in our far western communities, Jasper, Paoli, up towards Bedford. Seeing some of that widespread shower activity at this moment. But again, if you're not seeing showers, you're still seeing mist and drizzle. The hot spots for the highest rainfall totals today were just south and east of Louisville. 1.8 inches of rain in Campbellsville today, 1.7 in Lebanon. How about Frankfort, the state capital, close to 2.5 inches of rain so far today. Here in Louisville, just over 1/3 of an inch of rain. And as we mentioned, that low pressure is just spinning right on top of us. And because it's cut off from the rest of the flow in the atmosphere, that cutoff low, it's here to stay until at least Monday. Quiet at Churchill Downs now. That high temperature of 65 today happened overnight early this morning, around 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. We've been stuck in the 50s all day. And here in town, we'll be stuck in the 50s all night. 51 our forecast low. Showers continue tonight. Waves of showers are with us tomorrow. We're all stuck in the 50s for those afternoon highs on Sunday. Quick look at the full 10-day earliest alert. I mentioned those showers still with us Monday, especially during the day. The driest day for the work week, Noel, is going to be Tuesday. And then there's another chance that we get another cutoff low as early as Wednesday that, you guessed it, keeps those hit and miss showers back in the forecast once more.
Yeah, I'm seeing our Mother's Day forecast on there. How's that looking?
Yeah, it looks good right now. Still have to figure out where that next low pressure is going to wind up. But for now, I'll keep things mostly dry next Sunday.
Good. That's some good news. Maybe you can go back to the track with Mom if you got a little wet in the rain today.
Do a little makeup date, right?
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Carson. Coming up, sports anchor Dusty Baker has a full breakdown of the 151st running of the Kentucky Derby. Sports.
best deal, only at Ashley.
Well, it is no secret horse racing is life in the state of Kentucky. But today, for the 151st time, the entire world had their eyes locked in on Churchill Downs as the Kentucky Derby, even on a rainy day with sloppy conditions, managed to somehow grasp the attention of folks thousands of miles away, even in perfect conditions in their home beyond Louisville. Journalism heading into the day, the Derby favorite. Could he come out on top? Out of the gate, Citizen Bull, the representative for Bob Baffert in his return back to Churchill Downs, out in front early, but could he use up too much energy early on? Around the first turn, it was him as well as Neo Equos. Owen Almighty also in the discussion. At the half-mile mark, American Promise wants a little bit of a word here, and approaching a mile, Neo Equos maintaining his lead, but look at what is happening on the outside. You're going to see the pink and you're going to see the yellow. These two horses are Journalism and their Sovereignty making their moves. Journalism up ahead. Sovereignty is tailing him at this time as we are heading into the final mile as they turn for home. It's Neo Equos up ahead. Owen Almighty's right there, but look to the wide. Those two horses stuck in mud. That would be Journalism. That would be Sovereignty. They're neck and neck. Behind them is Baeza, but it's Journalism, Sovereignty. This is a battle of these two down this stretch. Look at the final push. They go in the final 16th, and Sovereignty has that extra step, that extra push, the strength it takes to finish the job and etch his name in history. A victory for Sovereignty in the Kentucky Derby, and Bill Mott has his first outright victory in the Derby as well. Baeza comes in close, finishing in third. Journalism in second, but at the end of the day, Sovereignty, too good, too strong, too talented. Sovereignty wins the 151st edition of the Kentucky Derby. It's been a crazy weekend. We've had so many things going on here, but what a way to wrap things up on a day where it rained like crazy. How about the horse Sovereignty? Sovereignty reigns over the Kentucky Derby. All right, we will be right back after the break.
One last look at the 10-day before we go. Showers are not going anywhere, unfortunately. We'll keep the rain around tonight, most of tomorrow, most of Monday. Tuesday looks mostly dry. And then the showers are back in the forecast Wednesday onward. But Mother's Day looks okay at this point.
You have to laugh because it just doesn't want to leave us alone.
That's all I can do.
It's appropriate, right? It's just appropriate. This is how it had to end, right? This is how it
had to. All right. Thank you so much for joining us at 11. Have a good night.
See you tomorrow.
Get live streaming news, 24-hour weather, investigations, podcasts, and more, all for free with Wave Now.